We have Brian and from Little Dress Up Shop and two of his partners. I guess these guys have different businesses. This is Eric and this is Scott. You guys want to know what your businesses are?
Yeah.
Okay, you guys good, okay.
Yeah.
Good deal. Well, these guys are going to talk to us a lot about online social, online marketing, and just kind of some of the barriers that people experience when you hop into doing stuff online. I mean, you can create a website, start doing your social media stuff, and you're still just dropping the bucket, right, guys? So these guys know it all. They can kind of guide us through some of the intricacies of doing business online and how to really get an online presence. Other than that, I'm just going to turn the time over to them. I'm just going to let these guys go with it and see what we can do.
Hey Sean, before we start, are we going to do intros on everyone first?
Yeah, let's do them. Yeah, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
And then we'll be
Perfect.
Okay, so my name is Brian. I run with my wife Lindsay here, Little Dress Up Shop. You guys may have seen some ads lately for us. We just started a retail side of our business, just barely. And thanks to Sean and Connie, we were able to get into that space that would allow us to do that. We've been online for the last 9 years, and for the last 7 years, we've been here in Eagle Mountain in our basement doing it. And for the last 3 years, we've been really just busting at the seams in the basement, trying to run a business from there. So we're kind of excited to have our own retail space. But today, we kind of changed the format. And what I wanted to do is kind of bring you just a little bit of feel of how I feel what helps our business and some of the ways that that we get to go out and get to know the techniques, strategies out there that maybe you don't know and you just don't quite sure what to do next. But I've always felt like I've had a group, whether it be through the group that we have or other groups I've been a part of, been able to learn something, and that's why I feel is very helpful and really the best resource or the best reason to come to these meetings every month is to be able to learn from each other. And so today what I'd like to do is kind of change up the format. Instead of us presenting everything to you, like on one specific topic, what we'd like to do is kind of introduce ourselves, kind of tell you, one of the hurdles that we've had to overcome in our business, our online business, whether through marketing or whatever. And then also something that's helped us succeed and kind of excel in what we do. What's unique about the three of us is we actually all worked at the same company. And same thing is we also quit the same company because we all were able to get our online businesses going. And we were able to quit that day job and just be able to focus on our online businesses and do some other things as well. So with that, I'll let Scott introduce himself and his business and kind of go from there.
Where do you stand or just sit?
It's up to you.
I'll just sit, my name is Scott Jones. I live in Provo, Utah. I've been in Provo since I was 2. I have 4 kids. Like Ryan said, I worked at this place. We all worked at called Stores Online, and I was there for 7 years. When I started there, it was just like, to me at the time, it was just like the next in a string of call center jobs. I was just, $8 an hour, just answering phones, customer support. I worked at New Skin and Ancestry and just a bunch of different call centers. So starting this job, I had no idea what was in store for me. It turned out to be basically 7 years of education. It was a great place because they encourage you to, as an employee, to better help the customers, to use the tools, the software that they created yourself, to become better familiar with it. What they probably didn't realize is that people would actually do that and then But so I started just in customer service, and then I moved up to building websites, and I just learned it all on the job, which was great. And then I started to start a t-shirt business with the tools that they offer, just with their software. So what I do is I sell blank t-shirts and polo shirts and hoodies and all kinds of stuff. We don't do any design or printing or silk screening. We just are a reseller. We just are a supplier of sorts. And so I have two suppliers that I work with that ship the products straight to my customers for me, so I don't have to worry about warehousing and inventory and that kind of stuff. So the website is called joestshirts.com. It's been online for almost 8 years. It was about 3.5 years ago that I ended up quitting the day job and doing this full time. So for the first 4.5 years, it was kind of a side job while I worked a 9 to 5. One of the biggest hurdles was, for me, was when I was to a point where I felt like the day job was hindering the potential growth of this business because I couldn't handle all the customer phone calls and customer service, and I didn't have any employees at the time, so I was just trying to do too much. So I felt like, you probably hear the concept of a lot of bottlenecking concept where you don't get help. You're trying to do too much of it yourself, and it ends up kind of grinding into a halt. So when I decided to quit the day job, I immediately hired a couple employees, and that just changed everything for me. To be able to have other people do some of the day-to-day stuff, well, I could focus on the marketing and the building of the foundation of the business and growing it. And it has continued to grow every year since then. One thing that I found very helpful for me, and it has been all along, was always having a group of friends that are in the same, that are doing similar things, not competitors, but just people that are selling online, and having people to bounce ideas off of. We get together for lunch a lot and just talk about new ideas that we've learned and different things. I don't know what else I should talk about. Any questions, I guess, so far on that? Yes?
So day job and transition to doing online business full-time and hiring employees. Where were you at? I mean, not numbers-wise, but how did you make that decision from a revenue standpoint? I mean, you're going to instantly cut that stable paycheck to be an entrepreneur.
Well,
Were you doing well enough that it was bottleneck, or were you still kind of taking a leap of faith?
it was definitely a leap of faith, and it was one I never thought I would take. Like when I started working at this job 7 years ago, or whatever it was, I wasn't ever the kind of person that thought I would do anything. I thought my whole life would just be a normal job, steady check, and everything. So it was a whole new thing for me. And so just the idea of quitting the day job was very scary, especially with kids. And we had just moved into, literally 2 months before I quit, we had just closed on a brand new house. So we had a new mortgage payment and that kind of stuff. And some of the biggest things were health insurance but I mean, that's one thing that I feel like keeps too many people from reaching their dreams is something as stupid as health insurance, So I finally was just my wife made me promise that I would get that figured out before I quit, and I decided not to keep that promise and just I felt like if I was forced to find a solution for insurance after quitting, I did have the Cobra 18-month buffer there, which was not the best idea, but anyway, I just felt like I got to do this. I got to just make the jump, but as far as the revenue standpoint and stuff, I had 4 years of statistics on my website, knowing that it was just a steady climb, and I didn't think that it was. I thought that if I was doing it full time, then why wouldn't it continue to climb, if not even more? And then I just put it on the line, and I missed that paycheck, but not as much as I thought I would, because the site just kind of made up for it. But yeah, definitely a scary thing, but I recommend it if it's right time.
Thanks, Scott. That's Eric.
Yes.
Himself.
So part of my story is, I guess, kind of similar to Scott's. We all worked at the same place. 2007, I met an artist. I had a friend that also worked with us that started selling kind of abstract paintings online. He was doing pretty well. One thing that kind of intrigued me about it, not only did I like art, it would sell for a fairly high dollar volume, like a couple $100 every time a piece would sell. And so it was kind of intriguing to me, knowing that you could build a new business and start seeing higher revenue numbers by having a product that sells well, but also at a higher price point. So for those two reasons, it was a field I was interested in, and it was also from a business perspective, it was intriguing, and I noticed that there was a lot of a big market for it online. So I found an artist. I started looking on eBay because it was kind of a big art marketplace at the time, and it still is. A lot of kind of independent artists would sell on eBay. Etsy I don't think exist at the time yet. But I found this artist, this metal artist. He makes modern, abstract, metal designs, and really, really cool stuff. And it really caught my eye. He had a really good selling history on eBay. He had a link to his website. His website was garbage. And so I was like, this is a great opportunity for me to reach out to this guy and see if we can collaborate. So I contacted him, told him I wanted to, I was an internet marketer, even though I was very green at this point. I was more interested in internet marketing than having, I didn't have any experience with it. Told him I was a marketer, I was building a website, and wanted to feature an artist in a kind of a modern genre, and I loved his stuff. And I just pitched it to him as a win-win. I said, if you can give me a commission on anything you sell on the website, I'll build the site, I'll get the products up there, and I'll market it at no cost. I'll just do it in my time, and just take a cut of all the sales, and he would just basically be a supplier. And he loved the idea, an opportunity for him to get more exposure, and so that's kind of where our relationship blossomed from there. So that was the beginning of 2007, and he was, at the time, he was actually a metallurgical engineer at GE, making jet engine parts out of metal. That's kind of how he got started in his metal art. And within about 2 years of us working together, he was able to quit his job, which was a high-paying engineer job at GE. Quit his job to do his art full-time, and then a couple years after that, just as things continued to grow, we got to a point where, and this was actually this last year, where I was able to quit my job to run the business side of it full-time. But it definitely took a lot to get me to that point. So I was at, similar to these guys, working the 9 to 5, working a day job, running the business on nights and weekends. Got to a point where I'm putting in for a couple of years. I went to college also doing this. A couple hours a night working on this, a few hours a day at school, 8 hours a day at work, and got married, had a couple of kids, and it was really getting taxing to the point where I was putting in. I graduated college, but I was putting in about 4 hours a night. Put my wife and kids to bed, and I'd stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning working on, answering emails, updating website, helping to forward on fulfill orders, custom requests, things of that nature. And got to the point where I kind of felt, that I was also a bit of a bottleneck, but mainly it was more kind of starting to affect my personal life. I was tired, I was always working, always had work on my mind. But it was a good problem to have. I knew that I had a business that was growing, and it was a big decision for me. Also, a big financial cut. I had a little bit saved up in the kind of a buffer in my kind of website, bank account, profits from the website that I knew we could live off of while I tried to build up enough revenue. So I was able to pretty quickly replace my income from the job, but the nice thing prior to that was that we lived off my job income, and the website, the business income was just kind of spending money on vacation and stuff like that. So it was a bit of a sacrifice there. But the biggest, one of the big hurdles that I've had to overcome, and it's actually going to tie into a major recommendation I have that's really helped out. So I guess to lead with that, the thing that's helped me out the most is diversifying. So after about 2 years ago, with this same artist, we launched a line of custom signage. We started getting requests. We do a lot of B2B stuff. Businesses would come because his artwork just fits kind of the corporate, urban areas, modern office buildings, restaurants, hotels, things like that. We started getting requests where companies would send us their logo. We'd send them some art, they love it, and they say, hey, if we send you our logo, can you have Nicholas make kind of a cool art piece for our lobby out of metal, maybe do it color, whatever, cut our logo out. So we started getting these requests a little more frequently, and we had some examples that we had done over time, to the point where we launched a whole other branch of our business, focusing on custom logo signs. So now we get 2 to 5 requests a day right now for custom logo signs. A few months after that, we also launched a line of what we call reproduction art, where it's still artwork on metal, but it can be mass-produced. So we'll come up with a design digitally, a graphic design like on a computer that can be printed onto metal, so we can make thousands of them rather than relying on the artist to hand make everything. And that allows us to sell at a lower price point. It allowed us to get into the retail market and sell at wholesale to retail buyers, which we just launched last year, and we've had a lot of success. And the reason this kind of diversification has been huge for us is because also this last year we took a big dip in our Google organic traffic. I don't know if any of you have experience with that, but there's been a lot of changes over the last couple of years in kind of Google search algorithms. And one of our websites, the one that was actually my flagship site from 2007, dropped 2/3 of its traffic and corresponding sales revenue, a lot of it, not quite 2/3, but about that. And that was by far our biggest revenue source at the time. But just the last few months is also when we've really been ramping up the reproduction art and the sign side of the business, to the point where it's pretty much leveled out right now. The money that we lost from the changes to Google that we're working to recover, we've replaced with revenue from the custom signs and reproduction art. So that's one form of diversification that I've done, is having different product lines and kind of different markets. And then to take that a step further, I put a lot of emphasis on selling through different sales channels. And so, like I mentioned, Etsy, Amazon, eBay, I have about half a dozen other, Artsy Home, Artful Home. There's tons of art-related websites that I can sell product through. You get periodic sales from all of them. So if any one thing happens to any one sales channel, shutdown, change of regulations, increased competition, I'm not too reliant on any individual sales channel. And then I've found that to be the case with other industries also. There's a company that actually hired me to take over their whole online sales channel. They're called Nova Lamps. They're a big modern lighting company. And we found the same thing to be true with them. We've got about 100 sales channels that they sell through. Some of them are just kind of marketplaces like Amazon and eBay, but others are just online lighting companies that we've contacted, and they sell home decor and lighting, furniture, things like that online. And a lot of these companies are eager to have fresh new products and new suppliers. So if you can, in your businesses, if you can locate other channels that you can sell your product through, rather than just really putting all your eggs in one basket on your own website or Etsy or eBay, diversify and find half a dozen or a dozen or a couple dozen websites in your niche that that you can approach. And a lot of them love to hear from you. Say, hey, I got a product I can sell to you at wholesale, work out margins. A lot of them will require 25, 30, 50%, so you have to kind of work out your pricing accordingly. But that'll open up a whole new realm to you. Your margins each sale are going to be a lot slimmer, but it's going to be hands off. They're just going to do all the work on their end, send you the orders, and I'm sure some of you have experience with this. But that's just another good way to diversify and minimize your risk by kind of spreading it out. So kind of long-winded there, but that's okay.
That's good. That's good. So I mean, can see where Scott, he's kind of said, getting a group of friends or peers that are similar, doing similar things as you to help you out and help you, maybe.
Well, it's here.
Exactly, just like the people. Exactly, and then Eric mentioned diversification, you know. If you have your one business and you're thinking, this is all I do, you know, maybe there is something else that you can do that similar or related, or hook up with another business that may be similar or related to be able to diversify and also increase channels. You know, don't think that the Yellow Pages or just the online, you know, Google Places Plus page is the only thing you should be doing. You know, there's lots of places that people will find you, and you just have to be able to know where those places are. And, you know, Eric's been able to find where all the art, decor, sales channels are. Just as many as channels as there are for art decor, there's going to be something for your specific niche as well. So just make sure to keep your ears open, look for them, you know, ask other people, look even at your competitors. Do a search on your competitors, see where they're at. You know, don't just rely on you having to do everything yourself. A little bit about myself, for those of you that don't know me, is that again, I'm not going to repeat the same old, like started at Stores of Mine, quit my job there, but I did. But what's really helped me is that, you know, there's lots of things that have helped me. One is, Scott mentioned the bottleneck. I was doing the same thing as these two, working a day job, going to school, and trying to be with my family and trying to start a business. And I was trying to do all the marketing myself. Once I was able to hand off part of the marketing to somebody else and know that, okay, I can trust somebody else to do a fairly good job, or at least continue what I was doing, then our business kind of took another step up. And our sales increased a little bit more. And that was just because another set of eyes were on our business now, and being able to give some fresh ideas to what we were doing. So, you know, to reiterate what Scott said, was just to be able to let other people help you as well. You know, if you're the sole person in your business, or if you just have a group of people that are, that's it, and that's only it, you know, just think about, hey, what if, you know, we brought someone else on, just for temporary, and I'm not talking about hiring a full-time employee or going and hiring an agency to help you out, but just think of, you know, what can someone else do for you that you're just having to spend a lot of time doing, or a lot of time learning that's just not your area. And you can pass off, or at least get some help on knowing how to pass it off. Because I think that will help you start to build your business in other areas as well. Another thing is processes. As soon as I quit my job, I looked at everything we were doing in our business, because we had employees, and we were trying to see, you know, I was coming home, we were going to be losing money, and I was trying to see how can we be as efficient as possible, all the way from customer service through getting orders shipped out, through follow-up. And that's just another thing of where, you know, if you're afraid of hiring an employee or buying a service or software that may help your business, just think about how will it help you lessen the time it takes to do whatever you do. For us, it was shipping out orders. We had to go through several steps to get an order shipped, packed, and labeled. And when we were first starting, I mean, we did everything from, you know, we got an email that an order was ready, so we copied and pasted. Actually, we got up our Excel spreadsheet with an invoice template, typed in the address, typed in the numbers, and that didn't work for us for a while, because that was just taking way too much time. So then we started copying and pasting, and that works great when you have, you know, 10 orders a day, maybe, whatever. But once you start hitting 500 orders a day, there's just no way you can copy and paste that fast to be able to get through that many orders. So we've really nailed down our processes, and we're continuing to try and figure out different softwares and stuff like that that will help us. And this last year, we've really reduced the amount of time from how we can pack orders. I mean, last Cyber Monday, and that was, you know, Cyber Mondays are usually good for us because we're online. But last Cyber Monday, we were able to get out a ton of orders in one day because our processes were good. And, the bad thing is that, our label printer couldn't keep up with how much we had to get out. So that's always a good problem when you have that kind of thing. So we've kind of just talked about some of the things that some barriers, some things that help us succeed. And now we kind of want to hear some of the questions that you have, where you're at in your business. And it may not be, online, maybe it's generic marketing, maybe it is online about, should I start an actual website? Is it worth it? Should I just start a Facebook page? Maybe that's where I should start. Or I don't even know where to start. Because there are different avenues for different businesses. And I've consulted for many different types of businesses. And some businesses, you don't need a website because that's just going to take way too much time. What you need to do is be where the people are. And maybe that's Facebook, creating a Facebook following. But some people, you do need a website just to be able to be that extended business card for you. So what I want to do right now is ask a business, and this person doesn't know I'm going to ask him, but just have him come up, introduce his business, and just maybe ask us one question about marketing. And what we're going to do is just kind of, give suggestions. Each of us kind of bring our own flavor to the table. We each sell different things, and so we kind of have things, and we each have similar backgrounds, but at the same time, I feel like we can help anyone really in any business. So actually, Rich, if you wouldn't mind just pulling up a chair here or there, it doesn't matter, but if you wouldn't mind just introducing your business, and maybe just giving us just one thing that you're either have stuck on or have a question about that may help your business.
We're basically a home-based firearms dealer located here in Eagle Mountain. We moved here from Draper, and one of the problems we're having is basically I've found through the different Facebook groups that I belong to, there's a lot of people who don't even know I'm here. I mean, I've heard just yesterday I heard people saying that, oh, we got to go clear to Orem or clear down to Lenny's or somewhere there to buy guns. There's no one here. And, I basically just spoke up and said, yeah, there's somebody here.
Right.
But our deal, we're trying to get an online gun store going. And the deal we would have come into was payment gateways. Finding a gateway. We got one right now that we're working with. I think it's going to probably pan out for us. A lot of people there on anti-Second Amendment, so they got this idea that guns are icky. So I talked to seven different gateways last week when I was off work, trying to find one that would work with me. And the part I ran into was just their knowledge of what's involved in being a licensed gun dealer. I mean, they were under the impression that we just send guns to Joe Blow's house, and they said that's why they don't do online gun sales, is because that the person's not standing in front of us doing a background check. Well, as a licensed dealer, you can't send I can't send a gun over here to his house, and I have to send it to another dealer. So I think just
Okay.
not being educated on what's involved with the gateways, and then getting our name out there, let people know we're here.
Okay. So who here for their business wants to always know that people know where you are, that you are open for business, that you have a business? How many here, raise their hands, want that? Does everyone want their customers to know that you have a business and they can come to you? Yeah? Okay. And then the other one that he brought up was the payment gateway. And payment gateways are when you deal online, and really even in a business, it's any kind of transaction, you're always going to deal with something at payment gateway. Somebody has to be able to take that payment. It's really good to point out, I guess, that payment gateways they don't see all businesses as equal. And depending on what you sell is going to depend on how much you're going to pay them to actually process people's credit cards. You know, because there's a risk factor in allowing you to be able to transact that money. And so it's kind of good to know. Just if you ever run up with a roadblock against payment processors, it's good to ask them about your business type. You know, right up front, and just say, this is what I do, this is what I, you know, and really kind of be able to let them know, you know, how much of a risk you're going to be. For us, princess dresses, not too high of a risk, right? You know, but for gun sales, obviously there is a risk in the merchant that sells them, and then also what is the type of guns is he selling? Are they legal? Because those are the types of things that basically they're banks that they have to know what kind of risk they need to take on the business. Some other things on Payment Gateway before we get to the other thing is knowing their lingo. You know, there's percentage rates, there's statement fees, there's lots of different things that you want to get the lowest price possible and stay away from as well. Statement fees, always ask about statement fees because some will be anywhere from $15 up to $35 a month just for having an account and being able to send you a statement, whether it be online or just through the mail. But there are some companies out there that will waive that statement fee for you, depending on your business as well. But you really want to ask, do you have a statement fee? What is that statement fee? Is there a minimum processing fee? Which means if you don't process so much money in a month, how much are you going to charge me? Those kind of ones you want to stay away from, because there are others out there that will kind of help you do away with those fees. Sometimes with the higher risk ones, and this is just coming from, again, experience of depending on your product, if you have a high risk ones, sometimes you just have to take what you get. Meaning sometimes there's a fee, and you know, but just to get your business going, you have to take what you get, and then prove to the bank and those payment processors that your business is legit. You're not going to have a lot of people return the merchandise or do refunds. Is there anything else that you guys want to say?
Yeah, no, I was actually going to jump in since you mentioned like a high-risk product. Doesn't necessarily mean the product itself is risky. We had several years where they considered us a high-risk product because most of our artwork was made after it was purchased. So we had a whole line of artwork that was photographed as metal art that he can recreate the same designs over and over. So we've got all these examples online, and the customer can go on and buy them. And the average order was about $1,200, but the product wouldn't be delivered for 5 to 9 weeks because then once the order came in, he would make it. So they considered that a high-risk transaction. It was a fairly high dollar volume, and the product was made after the purchase. So we had some, so we faced some issues. We had a processor that put a kind of a rolling reserve, so they would freeze 20% of our funds on every transaction. We'd only get the balance, and then that would be held for 90 days, rolling. So, doesn't just because it's firearms doesn't mean that's the only thing that makes it a high risk product. And again, like Robert said, when you're looking at shopping around to other processors, if you have to take what you can get at the beginning, when you're shopping around maybe a year or 2 years later, they'll ask you for your previous transaction history, so you can get printouts for the last 3 or 6 months from the guys you have been using, like Brian said, to just show kind of in good faith, look, we've been processing this amount per month, we have this, return rate or defect rate or whatever, got good history, blah, 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 you show them the fees, and they'll compete against each other for your business.
Right. And it's always good to start at your bank as well, where your business is going to bank out, and just kind of see what fees and what percentage rates they have, and they can help you out. And if you're just really wanting to get started and going, there's quick ones like Square Up. There's also, if you use QuickBooks for your business, there's Intuit Go. So there's ones out there that will say, you know, if you just want to charge process cards real quick, we'll help you go, and their fees are higher than what you'll typically get. But again, it's getting started versus sitting back and saying, oh, I can't move forward because I don't have a payment processor. You know, always just find the most quickest avenue to get started. And I think one thing before we get to his other question was that in the company we worked with, there's hundreds and hundreds of employees that all were given the same software, all were given the same opportunities for education. I think what makes us different is that we always took a step forward. You know, we didn't wait, we didn't take a step back. We always took a step forward. And sometimes they're calculated step forward, sometimes they're not, sometimes they're just leaps of faith, I mean, for us as well. But take a step forward. Don't sit there and think that one problem can keep your business from moving forward. Always, you know, think of how can I take that step forward? Or who can I ask to give me that answer of how I can take that step forward? So anyways, okay, so let's move on to your other one. So what have you done as far as being able to get your business out there so far?
Cards, miles on the vehicle, word of mouth is where I get most of my business from.
Okay.
Just basically people I meet, you know, hand them cards and just let them know.
Okay.
Like I say, I'm one that's forced to have to leave Eagle Mountain to go to work because I work another job. I'm a Walmart slave, so. But yeah, I have to go clear to West Jordan, so I'm handling a lot of cards in West Jordan.
Your market's here, you go out.
Yeah, it's not helping me here,
Okay.
so, and our move, I mean, that kind of hurt us a little bit, because we moved down here in the middle of nowhere, so.
So I remember in being tasked, you do have some of a customer base, but they're mostly outside of Eagle Mountain.
Yeah.
And do you have a website? I know you were working.
We had a website that was charging me $90 for basically nothing, just to say, hey.
Okay. $90 a month?
Yeah.
Okay. And then,
We cut back, we basically have turned our business from, we went more to the volume side, trying to sell guns and product in volume instead of, one here, one there, you know.
okay.
So, we've actually lowered our cost from, it's down to a dealer cost plus $25. So, on firearms and all the other stuff, I have a percentage rate that I charge on the accessories and stuff. The only one that we're having problems with as far as the dealer cost plus 25, and that's our Glock distributorship.
Okay.
Yeah,
Have you listed with any business directories online?
with like KSL and a couple of them.
Okay. So you're,
Some of them's when, you know, KSL is anti-second now, so we, I don't even know if they still have our listings on there for gun business, but Dex knows, that's who had my website, I had a little white page thing we've been online.
what do you guys think as far as helping them get it?
Their
Word out.
Facebook page.
So locally, do you have an actual store that you come to, or is it?
It's out of our house.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, basically my third car garage is my shop.
And then do you have a set open hours?
No, we're by appointment only because I'm actually working 2 other jobs besides trying to run the gun shop, so I'm hoping to be able to quit that here one of these days. I do fugitive recovery usually in the nighttime, bounty hunter is what most people know it as, and then I work undercover for Walmart, catching shoplifters. So.
It sounds like all 3 jobs are sort of kind of together. As far as
Yeah, I retired 23 years out of the Marine Corps, and I come out of there. Wife, she said, well, let's move back to Utah and take care of her parents. I was like, okay, let's go. But, you know, trying to find a niche that, you know, something I'd like to do and everything, so that's kind of what I got into.
Well, for, I mean, local marketing, there's a lot, you can do online also. I mean, there's know if you're on Yelp yet, or if you've submitted to Google.
I haven't really got into the Yelp deal yet. I don't
So
know
what's
much
great-
about all that stuff and then Twitter, I'm like, what is this?
Right, and then some of those things that most businesses, I don't want to say all businesses, but most owners of businesses, you know, don't know how everything works online, because they focus on their business, right? You focus on selling guns, and that's what you're good at, and that's okay. But what you have to know is you need to be able to go where your market is, and these things like Yelp. KSL, I'm glad you're on KSL because it's a good one to go to. But just
Yeah,
even know,
they shut us, that's where I used to sell a lot of our guns through was KSL,
Oh.
they shut that down.
but there's business
So-
listings on KSL to be able to kind of list your business as a and not just do KSL ads, but just in their business directly. There is one. You know, one of the things is for us is making sure that you are on Google and create a Google Plus page, because what that does is it allows when someone looks on Google, and maybe even they do local search, but in the map, your business will show up. Even if it's your home-based business, your business will show up there. For us, you know, just even when we were at our home, we had, you know, a few customers come to our house, and we're like, how did you find us? Because they came from South Jordan or, you know, South Salt Lake, and we're just like, you drove all the way out here? But we were the only Princess store that they could find on Google Maps. And so, but they still drove out to us, you know? So those are kinds of things that, you know, you may want to just spend a little bit of time just trying to figure out how to get onto Google Maps, because even though you may only get one or two people, if those one or two people then tell other people, you know, then you can start creating a little bit more of a following.
Well, those are free, and Yelp, you know, you create a business listing for free, Google Maps for free, Bing Maps for free, but you got to proactively do it. They don't just go out and find you and add you to their map. Businesses have to go there and register their, you know, add their address, add their location, their phone number. You can select that you're by appointment only. So when somebody searches, you know, they get on Google to find a gun shop and they're, you know, somewhere near Eagle Mountain, Saratoga Springs or something, yours will come up, they can click on it, it'll show your phone number, they can click to call, you know, a lot of this is all done on cell phones these days and iPads, so, you know, it takes effort to get there, but it's not, doesn't cost money. And I think, I'm not 100% on KSL, but I know after that Connecticut shooting, I think is when a lot of online channels took guns off, but a lot of them come back since then. And kind of there's a month or so where a lot of online
KSL, I put an advertisement on KSL just about my business there, and they suspended my account because
Interesting.
so.
Okay.
I just have a question, because when you gave me your business card, I have grandsons, and I thought, my question in my mind was, do you do gun safety classes?
We're actually working on that. We have to get certified there because with the state of Utah here, 23 years in the Marine Corps, I don't know enough about guns to teach the classes. So
Yeah.
it's basically just a money deal. So we're currently doing an NRA safety class. We're hoping to be licensed to teach here by the end of the year. So
That would be great for,
we have to jump through all the hoops for
yeah.
being able to certified through BCI to teach their classes and stuff. So.
But if you could be the first one out here,
That would be
make
great.
it.
That's what we're working on, and probably teach them out of the house for right now. Our goal is to, one of these days, have the largest retail gun shop and firearms training center in the state. So hopefully it'll be
Maybe
here in
people are
Eagle Mountain.
against guns too because they don't understand them. Once you have an understanding and know how to use them, especially the young kids, you know, the boys were growing up. Because I know in our neighborhood, they're out there with their airsoft guns all the time. And I'm kind of like, Lisa, are you like wearing costumes? So, but I think safety is huge. You gotta safety course, like, you know.
Yeah, we're, like I say, we're in the process of getting certified fight to,
Well, that kind of ties in with the diversification also. If you wanted to, if one of your obstacles right now with getting online is, that you're finding resistance to actually selling firearms, then why don't you lead with the accessories? Lead with things that, holsters and replacement clips and goggles and earplugs and targets and things that you I'm sure have connections to give them at wholesale rates and you can sell them. Lead with that stuff where you can sell on all kinds of channels because there's no danger involved while you're going through the hoops to be able to, secure a payment processor and get your certifications and whatever else you need for the actual firearms. Leading with the stuff that has fewer barriers.
yeah. We, actually last weekend, we went to a swap meet up on Redwood Road, and we done $2,000, and they said it was $2,000 profit after my expenses and booth and everything in 2 days. And like I said, we couldn't sell the firearms or none of that there, but we took all my non-FFL stuff. And we done, I wish there was more avenues here in, Utah County for that. I'm trying to research, see if there's any other swap meets that go on down here in Utah County, but I haven't had a look at those.
And sometimes it's also trying to create those opportunities, maybe you have to join up with, names. Anyways, yeah, just any other business that may be related to your business. Any kind of sporting goods store, any kind of, do you know what I mean? Get them to maybe do something in Saratoga Springs, start somewhere, slow, and then slowly be able to pull it out here.
As far as the firearms business goes, we're going into our 3rd year now, and I found that it's cutthroat. So a lot of your other businesses and dealers, we all kind of network together and talk about stuff that's going on in the industry. But as far as buddy, let's go set up a swap meet or do this, do that. They're kind of they don't want to get that chummy.
Yeah.
No, one thing I thought about also as you're going through certifications, as you're kind of working through this, being the resource in terms of education. So you talk about safety training and things like that, but if you have a website that people come to because they want to learn what, anything they need to learn, maybe it's not selling guns, but maybe it's showing people how to safely clean your gun. Maybe it's doing something on YouTube where you can demonstrate and provide knowledge that others in this area don't provide. And so people start to always think of Lock and Load as the place to learn anything about. And then as your gun sales start, once you turn your gun sales on, then that's where you go next.
That's one of the reasons why we have looked into doing the training classes there is because a lot of people that come in there, and you get a lot of people that's never really even touched a gun. And you can get those people in for training classes, and then you got your gun shop over here at the side, and be like, oh, let's go look, see what you got. That kind of creates sales there too, I think. So.
And have you ever looked at if there's any kind of meetup or even a Facebook group in Eagle Mountain that's all for gun owners and gun lovers?
I haven't really
created. No, you would create them. Yeah, create it. Because there are lots of military families out there.
Unite your brothers and, in the service around this area, that's huge.
Yeah, that's just trying to reach out there and, like I said, I posted a deal on that Eagle Mountain 24/7 there.
Yeah, you can't post your business on that. So.
Yeah, I just posted on there, just, PM me, so if they wanted info on it there, I think they took my deal down. But.
Hey, Brian, I have a suggestion. Because there are so many kids that do the airsoft guns, I know they drive up Orem or Salt Lake to get those, so that might be a market you want to get into. And then by doing that, those kids, they know where to go, where to buy them, instantly texting, sharing Facebook pages.
stuff too, so I mean,
We
anything.
spent a lot of.
They spend
Fire, shooting fire, all that stuff.
We've looked at getting into airsoft and paintball stuff.
But it might be a means just to get people aware of what you actually do, and that's like a supplemental income to what you have, and it might even be greater than what you're doing now.
Yeah. I'm, right now, focused on trying to hit that $1,500 mark so I can tell homework if I can do $1,500 a week, no profit after expenses, I can put more time in my business and not have to be by appointment only, and hopefully things will grow there too. So.
I was just telling him, just another idea is just to you sponsor an event. So bring in some of these things, like, so a big paintball, airsoft, and it's put on by you.
Yeah, we're
You know, if you're not selling anything, but your name, the thing is name recognition. So,
I'm currently, I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with him, but Ron Pincus. He's a world-renowned, he shoots 3-gun matches and stuff like that. We're trying to get him to come out and do a training class out here at the farm. I just got to work out the details with the owners of the farm, see if we can get in there and how much they're going to charge us, and then how much it's going to cost me to bring Rob in for the, it's going to be a 1-day training class, and go over, combat shotgun, combat pistol, and AR-15 class. He does 3-gun matches. And right now, we're looking, it's probably going to cost me $5,000 just to get him here.
But if you get a group of people to come,
Yeah.
know about lock and load.
If I can get a big enough group, that's nothing to get the people to, so it's worth the deal. And we're gonna have to take in charge for the class that's kind of offset some of the costs there. Last time we brought him here, the classes were $300, and it was a whole day class, and each student shot over 2,000 rounds. And learning the different site acquisition, gun safety and stuff.
So was this helpful for you, Rich?
Yep.
Was this helpful?
Yeah, like I said, if I can get through this payment gateway deal and get that thing lined up and everything.
I think you've got some good ideas.
I'll be over that obstacle, and like I say, I just got the new cards in, so I'm plugging away trying to get those out. I just gotta, I've even thought about going door to door, but I don't know how the city feels about that, so that's another thing is the restrictions, and I'm not sure.
Yeah, but it's just like with anything, with any business, right? I mean, there's always a restriction with any type of business that you do, whether it be online, in person. It's again, like we said, it's just getting around those restrictions and being able to really, talk to the people that may know more about them, or just going a different avenue. Airsoft may be the way to go. Be able to get in there where firearms may be too much of a, headache for someone to deal with right now. But airsoft, kids do that all the time. Their parents may be like, yeah, that's totally cool.
Yeah, we've looked into those options, and
Okay.
I'm actually open for anything.
Yeah. Okay, well, let us know how it goes, the payment gateway.
Back to work, we sell Barbie dolls. There's a market.
Never know.
So what's your license
Yeah, we're,
to teach classes?
yeah, once
How
we,
are you gonna let everybody know?
basically just through, the various, Eagle Mountain groups I belong to, and just trying to advertise it.
And then would the city sponsor gun safety classes?
I've been approached by the city when we had this little, street fair thing up here, and they said once I get licensed there, they would, I guess they've done it in the past, where we use this room here to teach classes.
Because there's an Eagle Mountain Facebook, or website, right?
Yes.
Not Facebook.
Yeah, there's actually several. So,
I've actually thought about, I don't know all of them, but I'm trying to get on there, the ones that you can actually talk about your business. And
yeah, maybe good for maybe Sean can as a business you can go on there. Okay, great. Well, we're kind of out of time, but we hope that this kind of setting was kind of helpful, and you can see where, you know, where as a person coming up here, you know, it's not just, you know, us talking and just, you know, kind of a lecture setting, but being able to really interact with everyone and everyone give ideas to that one business. And this is kind of what we do on a monthly basis with our lunches. You know, we come with, you know, some things that have worked for us, some things that maybe we're having questions about, but we kind of do this and help each other out, give each other ideas, and maybe to help it. So.
I was just going to ask you guys real fast. Pay-per-clicks, do you guys use those at all, or do you just do organic and do the pay-per-clicks work for you? I know in our industry they're pretty expensive. They're between $40 and $50 because of how competitive it is. I don't know the price for t-shirts or memoir or dresses, but is that something that you recommend, or have you had success with that?
I would say, first thing, make sure you can accurately track conversions, because especially if it's going to be expensive per click, you have to know how much you paid before you got a lead out of it or a sale. And I actually used to manage our marketing team at Crescendo, and we, you know, tried to kind of give them this advice to every client we had as they started pay-per-click. You know, first calculate exactly how valuable a new customer is to you. A lot of you may already have this, but in terms of actual profit, lifetime value of an average customer. And you know, it's going to vary, but you need some kind of a number, some kind of an average. And let's say the average customer is worth $1,000 profit to you. Then in your industry, let's say your clicks cost as much as $25 a click. I don't know. There's some industries where it's $50 a click. If, you know, super competitive, you know, law firms and things like that. Even if you're paying $50 for every click, as long as, let's say, it takes you 20 clicks to get one lifetime customer, at that point you paid 20 clicks, 20 times 50, which is $1,000. So you'd be breaking even right there. So as long as you're getting at least one customer for every 20 clicks in that scenario, then you're going to be breaking even. If you're getting more than one customer, then you're going to be profitable. Now, ideally, you're going to be paying, you know, maybe a couple of bucks or less than $1, and you can get a lot more, you know, customers for every $1,000 you spend. But as long as you're accurately tracking how much you're spending, how valuable an average customer is to you, because it's really hard. It's easy to talk about, but it's really hard when you're in the moment, knowing that you just spent $500 on people visiting your website and you got nothing out of it. But you know that maybe that next click is going to be worth $1,000 to you. So you've got to be able to be a little bit patient, track your results, invest a little bit of money. You know, my market's similar. It's expensive for metal art, but the average customer is pretty valuable to us. So if you're tracking it accurately, it can be a huge revenue source and a good decision. He's got, yeah.
So you were saying that the clicks are expensive in your industry. A lot of times, usually the ones that are expensive are the ones that are just the most popular, most searched phrases. And one of those tricks is to start by not going after those ones, but basically come up with a massive list of ones that are that are more targeted, more long tail, like, as in like a very specific search phrase, as opposed to just, like, for example, for me, as opposed to just t-shirts. Someone that wants to search for like Fruit of the Loom and a SKU number and a color, and so no one's bidding on that. So the bids are like 20 cents or less, you know. And each one of those might not bring in tons of traffic, but when you have this massive list of those types of words, then collectively the traffic will come at a much more affordable.
What's your industry?
Disaster cleanup, restoration.
So I wouldn't lead with bidding on the phrase disaster cleanup, because that's kind of a well-known name in the industry. But there's going to be, you know, that one individual word might get the most searches, but collectively people searching for, what do I do if my basement flooded, you know, you bid on that, you're gonna pay 25 cents, and that's gonna be a very qualified keyword. Another problem with the expensive, broader keywords, you're gonna get a lot of wasted money on people who are just like high school students doing research, people looking for images to use on their website, you know, you're gonna get a lot of wasted money when you're bidding on those, but when you're bidding on the really, really specific stuff, you're gonna have a much higher conversion rate.
Oh, also, are you trying to target just people in a certain geographic area?
Yeah, where our offices are.
Okay, so in that case, maybe you have a certain ad group in your campaign where you're actually only bidding on phrases that include a name of a city in your area. So I mean, those are going to be a lot cheaper. And then also the ones that you are bidding on that aren't, where the phrases aren't geographically targeted, make sure that you are only allowing people that live within that radius to show your ads, as opposed to people that are searching for the same phrase across the country that wouldn't do you any value.
So you would set up 2 campaigns, one of them where all the words include the word Eagle Mountain or Utah or whatever, and then another campaign where the searches don't include those words, but you're using Google or Bing's geo-targeting to say, I only want people who search for that for disaster cleanup within a 50-mile radius of this point to show my ad. So that it's kind of...
Yeah, anytime you ever run into a spot where you want to pay for Google AdWords, and you first pull up your keywords and they look really expensive, just know that there's usually a way to be able to start out and not pay as much. And you have to be able to know how to target those specific customers that are looking for you. Meaning, what are the questions that are people asking that are looking for you? Disaster cleanup, you know, it's Eagle Mountain flood, you know, restoration, or, you know, I just had a flood in Eagle Mountain. Who can I call? You know, those kinds of questions.
Okay.
So great. So did that help you?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Okay, so I know that in the beginning we didn't introduce everyone, and I think it'd be good to introduce, just since everyone's here, just real quickly. Sorry, we kind of did that backwards.
My name is James Crandall. We just from the White Hills area. I'm in the process of starting a thing called Liquid Silver Creative. It's kind of a graphic design / t-shirt type of scenario. We're still kind of feeling around for how we want to base our structure and what we're going to do, but that's kind of what I'm working on. Yeah, I just registered my DBA, so I haven't really got things going yet. We're still trying to we're still working on a business plan to kind of figure out what niche we want to hit and all that kind of stuff. So.
In Lamont Snar Media, I do development for business, for building material supply companies, and also chamber services. They grow chambers, membership software, back-end support.
Well, my name's Rich. I have the gun shop here. Most of you already know me. We basically sell firearms, gun accessories. My wife's side of the business, she does the living oils. We also sell survival gear, 72-hour emergency preparedness kits, stuff like that. So basically, right now we do custom orders. Customer wants a particular gun, particular holster, whatever. We call up our distributors there. We have over 450 manufacturers right now that we can get product from. And we just order it. It usually comes in 2 to 3 days. Trying to keep it low overhead.
I'm Jared Miller. I'm a chiropractor, and we're in the Prairie Gate Business Park by Maverick and the Ranches. We've been there a little over 10 years now, and what's unique about us maybe is just we're close for people in Eagle Mountain. And we also give the patients a lot of one-on-one time so they can get their attention they need and questions answered and all that. So what we're doing in practice? 10.5 years, all here in Eagle Mountain.
My name is Marvis Hermage. I do handcrafted things. We moved here from Idaho probably a little over a year ago, and I sell through Etsy Etsy right now. I had some other venues when I was in Idaho, but right now we're just doing Etsy and trying to pick up new hits as to how to expand the business.
Sabrina, I own the Natural Mama. I empower women, mostly in childbirth. I teach childbirth classes, I'm labor doula, postpartum doula, I do placenta encapsulations. I do just a variety of, and also work with essential oils. So really, I'm just kind of, I market myself as kind of that one-stop shop. And you don't need to go anywhere else but to me. So that's what I'm trying to just, you know, I have lots of clients and business partners right now. I'm just really trying to kind of find my niche and get some more exposure in the Eagle Mountain area.
Do you do anything online?
I do. I sell, I do childbirth education classes and I also sell doTERRA essential oils.
I asked because a neighbor of ours, I had my wife and I come be like actors for some birthing videos that she makes and sells on Amazon and stuff.
Yep, and I have like YouTube channels, tips and stuff like that on a variety of all that.
My name is Scott Hazard. I own a real estate group. We're located right across the street from the Maverick. I'm a real estate developer, a real estate broker, and a property manager. I own the retail building where the Great Cliffs are, and I own the building there across the street from the Maverick where Dr. Miller practices. I've been to him, by the way, I recommend him wholeheartedly. It's awesome. And I'm interested in you folks as your businesses grow. If you're looking for some retail space or office space or exposure that way, you know, if for the opening of hunting season, our gun friend here wanted to do something to just do a little area and empty space, that I'd be happy to accommodate you in some kind of a way like that, even if it's a one-shot thing, get you a little exposure, call me, brainstorm, I'm happy to be creative with you. So.
My name is Doug. I'm owner of Spectrum Satellites and DirecTV Dish Network Radio, and I've been for almost 20 years now. So we do residential, commercial, just about anything you can think of that involves the TV. I'm also a certified iridologist, so if you have any interest in natural health, if you want to get together and maybe work out some deal where we can refer each other, that'd be awesome.
You need to have a bundle with DirecTV and internet, because that was the thing. I'm just more paying Comcast for internet and DirecTV for TV, or something like that. I'm sure you get a lot of business.
Yeah. Can I make a note too? My husband has stepped out too. He is also in marketing, does social media and things like that. So if anybody would like to just, he's designed websites and just, you know, that kind of social networking. So he might be a good catch to go out to lunch and help build your business.
Well, it's my turn. Can I ask a question? Because I came late, and so I didn't get a lot of your background. You said you alluded to something about meeting every month together to discuss these things. Are you talking about here or just amongst yourselves?
No, just really kind of amongst ourselves. We have a group of people that quit the same company. So,
well, it's kind of snowballed. I mean, just like, you know, we've invited other people, just, you know, just a bunch of guys who are entrepreneurs or trying to be entrepreneurs, you know, to throw around ideas, you know, what's working, what's not, what's new in the industry, in the market, just in general, selling online or new sales channels.
So you're not like online marketers in that business, you're just...
Right, it's more just entrepreneurs throwing ideas around. I mean, a lot of us do our own online marketing, but we're not, you know, selling to each other or anything. It's more just kind of a brain trust. Similar to kind of like this, when we just get together. So I mean, totally recommend it if you guys kind of just network among yourselves and every month or quarter or something, even if somebody just get together for lunch to just chat about challenges and changes or successes. It's neat too because since everyone has their own different products, you're not like feeding competition by any means. You're just, you know, here's what's been working for me, and it can work in, you know, all these other industries also.
Steve with Disaster Professionals. We do disaster claims and then repairs, remodels. We're in the building over with direct communications. Is that your building also?
talk to that could maybe apply to other people. We've got actually he used to be our boss at the company that we used to work for, a guy named Parker Garwitz. He has a very successful company selling wheatgrass. Wheatgrasskits.com is his main website, but wheatgrass and seeds and all these other herbs and all that. He recently had an idea. He sells a lot of his product in buckets. So a bucket full of seed, whatever, wheatgrass. Well, he started getting requests for just extra buckets. And he said, I'm just going to start, since I already buy these buckets at wholesale anyway because of how many I use, I'm going to sell the buckets by themselves. And now he sells like 50 buckets a day. Not related to his product by any means, but he just, like for disaster cleanup, for example, and a whole other product line could be, some of the tools that you guys use for that. Maybe there's a market for people who want to do something themselves and they just need, whatever type of saw or scraper or drywall saw or whatever, things that you already get at wholesale, you very well can turn around and sell those in addition to selling your services.
We actually have a product called Steraplex that is an antimicrobial that gets rid of mold, and you can actually use it as a household cleaner. Those anthrax, but you can't buy it as a private consumer, but it's in the itself, so it's a way to.
Is that on your website?
No. I'm looking into possibly doing that, so that's a great idea.
Yeah, that's great.
My name is Ray Preston. I'm an attorney, and I have a law firm with 2 other women that live up in Davis County. And I primarily work from my home. When I meet with clients, I have a virtual office in South Jordan, kind of splitting the difference between Salt Lake and Utah counties. And what makes our law firm different is we offer 3 different levels of service. For some people, we all came out, we all 3 worked at the same place and all quit. We staggered our quitting because we knew we were, we staggered our quitting by a month to not overload our boss. But so it took us 3 months to all get out of there. We were working in the nonprofit law world. And so we came to our for-profit law world with still kind of a social justice bent. And so we offer 3 different levels of service: coaching, limited scope, and full service, to try to make services affordable for more people.
What kind of law do you practice?
Family law, also divorce, custody. And then we also do for people that don't need to do tax planning with their estate planning. We can do some simple estate planning, but we don't do tax estate planning. That's beyond our expertise.
Great. So, yeah, Sean.
Well, I'll tell you guys a little bit about me and BRC, I guess. So I'm Sean Wilson, and I'm the Eagle Mountain BRC Business Resource Counselor. We're located right in the Direct Comm building, in Suite C. So right as you come in the front door, just turn left. And the unique thing about the Eagle Mountain Business Resource Incubator is that we offer counseling to small businesses for free. So if you have questions about your business, you want to start your business, you want to develop your business, you need funding for your business, we have resources and just counseling sessions that we can put you through, kind of help you grow your business. Additionally, out there at the Business Resource Center, we have an incubator. It's a small business incubator for small businesses to kind of get some traction and launch out to the community. Brian's participating in the incubator. Disaster professionals are current clients in our incubator. So they've come in and set up shop in there. What incubators really allow people to do is kind of grow their businesses without a lot of the demands that traditional businesses have if you're going to move out into the industry, as far as just overhead costs. So we have office space, conference room, cubicles, phones, internet, everything else. So if you're interested in maybe launching your business and you'd like an office space, come talk to me. I have some cards right here. Part of our program is we're trying to connect people to mentors. We're currently trying to develop an Eagle Mountain mentorship, business mentorship group. Currently we have one guy on board called Paul Lightoff. He's an attorney out here, and he's offering free consults to local businesses in Eagle Mountain. If you have any questions regarding patents or just any kind of legal questions regarding your business, he's happy to meet with you for free. It's pro bono. I'd be happy to give you his card right here. I also have a card too if you'd like to schedule an appointment and meet with me, or just come visit our incubator. We'd love to have you out there. Additionally, we have these meetings every month. I really like what happened today, just to see everybody interacting, giving people feedback on each other's businesses. This is kind of what we're hoping to create out here, is that synergy among businesses where, you know, they can all kind of, it's like a symbiotic relationship. People can kind of help each other out, grow their businesses. And, you know, like these guys do, they have a collective resource where they can bounce ideas off each other and grow. And that mutual interest kind of really helps them propel their self-interest in a way. And so that's kind of what we're helping, we'd like to generate out here as well. So thank you very much for coming out. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Does anyone have any questions before we wrap up? And